There we go.
You are live.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'll now call Planning Committee to order. Tonight's meeting is being held virtually with members of Planning Committee, Executive Management Team, the Deputy City Clerk, and the City Clerk participating via video conference. Senior leadership team is available to answer questions if we do have any on the one staff report that's on tonight's consent agenda. And so I will simply ask if there is anybody who wishes to hold the staff report that's on Planning Committee's agenda tonight. It's a zoning bylaw amendment for 620 Lockhart Road. Okay, not seeing anybody who wishes to hold that. It is deemed to be approved on consent. It'll go forward to City Council. We have two public meetings on Planning Committee's agenda tonight. The applications were submitted by the developers deemed complete under the Planning Act to proceed with the public meetings. The first public meeting is to review an application for draft plan of subdivision submitted by KLM Planning Partners on behalf of Mapleview Developments Limited, and that is for 750 Mapleview Drive East. Second public meeting is for a zoning bylaw amendment submitted by Innovative Planning Solutions on behalf of Data Tamer Inc., care of Michael Lato, for lands known municipally as 157 Ardagh Road. Members of Planning Committee will be listening to the presentation, comments received during the meeting, but we won't be making our own comments or debating the matter tonight, and a decision comes at a later date when the planning report is submitted to committee by staff. As the purpose of the public meeting is, of course, to provide the public an opportunity to speak to and give comments on the subject application, we just allow the ward councillors to ask questions of clarification. The rest of the night is for public comments, if any. And of course, other committee members can ask questions of staff at any point after the meeting or when the matter comes forward to Planning Committee and Council. Questions raised tonight will be noted by staff and the applicant. However, we don't try and do question and answer during a Planning Act public meeting. Those questions will be noted and responded to in the staff report that's presented at a later date. Ms. Banfield, our Director of Development Services, can you confirm that notification was conducted in accordance with the Planning Act for tonight's public meetings?
Yes, Mayor Lehman, it was.
Thank you very much. Although registration prior to these meetings was encouraged, folks, if you are watching and you wish to speak tonight, please email cityclerks@barrie.ca or you can call 797-5353 and our staff will send you the information you need, give you the information you need to be able to speak at tonight's meeting. I see Mr. McKinnon has already joined us. Mr. McKinnon from KLM Planning Partners is to give the presentation tonight concerning that first plan of subdivision submitted by KLM on behalf of Mapleview. This is for 750 Mapleview Drive East. Welcome to Planning Committee, Mr. McKinnon, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Your Worship, members of Planning Committee, staff, members of the public. I am fired up to be here tonight. So thank you for taking the time to hear the public meeting. I do have a very short presentation, so if you bear with me for 1 second, I will share my screen. And I'm hopeful that everybody can see that. So as noted, Your Worship, I am here this evening on behalf of Mapleview Development Limited. Just as a quick point of clarification, I believe the notice of public meeting that went out tonight had the ownership name of Urban North on the Go. That is a subsidiary company that is of the same ownership, but it is an internal transfer that's happening. So it is the same ownership, but just different name. It just hadn't legally happened at the time. So when I reference Mapleview Development Limited this evening, Urban North on the Go is one and the same. So just point of clarification on that. As you note, Your Worship and members of Planning Committee, the public meeting this evening is related to what I would consider to be a technical minor draft plan of subdivision for 750 Mapleview Drive East. The subject parcel is 1.3 hectares in size. It is located on the north side of Mapleview Drive, immediately east of Lily Drive. As you see on the screen, highlighted in red, that is the subject parcel of land. In terms of a quick context surrounding it, of course, Mapleview Drive to the south. Immediately south of Mapleview Drive is the Bistro 6 plan by Pratt Development. The area you see here highlighted is the Urban North on the Go lands that have been under development for a number of years now. And of course, we have the larger environmental protection area, and then of course the GO train station further to the northwest. And again, this is a very zoomed in portion of the context. Again, similar area highlighted in red with the other development lands that are currently under construction that you see there today. The existing official plan for the City of Barrie, not obviously the new one that was adopted by Council last evening, but the existing one that's still in force and effect, highlights the area that's highlighted in the star as designated as residential in Schedule A on the land use plan. The existing zoning for the subject site has two zone categories. It has a residential multiple 2 zone category with a site-specific provision 569. That site-specific provision, which was put in place by a previous owner and approved by council back in 2019, set out a number of different parameters from density, maximum density, height, setback provisions, all of which are not proposed to be changed. And will be in conformity to the existing zoning that's in force and effect. And then the other zone category that you see there is the environmental protection zone. These are limits of development that were also established by the previous owner and came into force and effect through the amendments applied for at the time. The next slide here is the draft plan of subdivision that's proposed before Planning Committee this evening. As noted in the notice, it's a 4-block draft plan, starting from north, working my way south. So block number 2 is an environmental protection block that will ultimately be dedicated to the City of Barrie. Adjacent to that is block number 1. That is where the residential portion of the development will occur. We have filed a site plan application for those lands, which is in process with city staff, for 81 common element townhouse dwelling units. Adjacent to that, on block number 3 along the easterly edge here, also is another environmental protection block that's going to be dedicated to the city. And then very lastly, at the southern end of the plan, you see here highlighted as number 4 is a future road widening block for the future widening of Mapleview Drive, which will also, of course, be dedicated to the city in the fullness of time through the registration of this plan. So with that, Your Worship, I hope that's quick and succinct. I'm definitely happy to answer any questions members of Planning Committee or members of the public may have on our application this evening.
That sure was succinct. Thank you very much, Mr. McKinnon. Being fired up got you through that one in a hurry. I will go to Ms. Banfield to give us an update on the status of this application. Ms. Banfield.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Mayor Lehman. And so you're right, we are undertaking the planning review of it. This type of application is one that I consider to be a technical draft plan of subdivision. It really sets up the base for the plan of condominium so that when it comes time to transfer the units to different people, that they're able to do that in a very clear way through land titles. So the detailed design and technical review really is going to be taking place through the site plan control application. And again, that's going to move forward in accordance with the what Mr. McKinnon just said. So the expectation, because the draft plan of subdivision actually is delegated to staff, this doesn't have to return to council. Pending the technical comments and getting ourselves in a position that we can issue the draft plan conditions, we'll do that at the staff level as soon as we're able to. So this does actually conclude my presentation. So I thank you for your attention. It is no different though than any other application. All the information is available on the website, key dates, submission materials. It's all under Ward 10, and Celeste Kitsemetry is the senior planner on the file if you need to reach out to her directly. Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Banfield. Appreciate that, and that this is an unusual one in that it is delegated authority, but it requires the Public Planning Act public meeting, and that's where we are here for the first one tonight. The second matter will come back to committee. But Madam Clerk, have we had anyone register to speak at this public meeting?
No, Mayor Lehman, we have not.
Didn't anticipate we would. And I don't believe I see Councillor McCann on the call. No. Okay, he's the ward councillor, and since he's not here, we'll assume there's no questions from the ward councillor. And that means we are complete this public meeting. Thank you, Mr. McKinnon, for being here for this brief one. And for anyone watching who is interested in this particular application, technical such as it is, as per Ms. Banfield, this can be found in the Ward 10 section of development applications on the city's website if you're interested in details around this one. Or you can, of course, email celeste.kitcemetery@barrie.ca, the file planner. So I'll declare that public meeting concluded. And we will move to the second Planning Act public meeting. Tonight, I'll call on Ian Hunter from Innovative Planning Solutions to provide the presentation. This is concerning a zoning bylaw amendment application submitted by Innovative Planning Solutions on behalf of Data Tamer Inc. for 157 Ardagh Road. Mr. Hunter. Have we got, sorry, I may not be able to see you on my screen. There you are. Sorry, it's James, isn't it?
Good evening, Marilyn. Yes, it is.
Sorry about that. Not sure why we had the end, but nice to see you again and welcome to Planning Committee, and the floor is yours for the presentation. Go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor Lehman, members of council, and those in attendance tonight. My name is James Hunter, and I'm a senior planner with Innovative Planning Solutions, representing the applicant for a zoning bylaw amendment at 157 Ardagh Road in the city of Barrie. The subject slide here shows the location of the property. It's highlighted in red at the intersection of Ardagh Road and Snowshield Trail. This property has frontage of 24.4 meters along Ardagh Road and has land holdings of approximately 970 meters squared. There is an existing garage that's tied into a previous severance on the land, and that will be removed. Surrounding area of the subject lands is a low density residential area with a variety of lot sizes, dwelling types, and densities. And it does have close proximity to parks, a lot of local services, public transit, and amenities. As well, on the north side of Ardagh Road, there's a number of developments that are occurring here for townhouses and semi-detached units. The proposed development that we're considering here tonight is the creation of 2 semi-detached residential units, which will be on 2 lots. Through pre-consultation, we established that the actual creation of each lot would be part of the lot control exemption process, and that will follow the ZBA approval. So lot 1 and 2 will each have 12.2 meters of frontage on Ardagh Road, and lot 1 will have an area 484 meters squared, and lot 2 will have an area 486 meters squared. Each semi-detached dwelling is proposed at 2 stories in height, and each one would have a floor area of approximately 108 meters squared, and it would have 2 bedrooms per unit. Along Ardagh Road, there is a double wide driveway, which would provide access to each property, and this could accommodate up to 4 parking spaces per unit. As well as we have included very increased rear yard setbacks at 16.9 meters and 3.1 and 3.2 interior side yards, and that will provide abundant landscape open space on the property. The subject lands are zoned currently residential single detached dwelling second density, which is R2 in the City of Barrie zoning bylaw. The current R2 zone does not permit semi-detached units, so therefore we're seeking a zoning bylaw amendment. And the amendment we're asking for is to rezone the lands to the residential multiple dwelling first density, which is the RM1 zone, to permit the semi-detached units. And with the application, there's no special provisions or exceptions requested. From a high level planning perspective, the subject lands are designated residential, and this supports all forms and tenure of housing. Intensification is supported to promote an increase in planned and built densities, with emphasis placed on underutilized and vacant properties. Goals and principles of the official plan aim to accommodate the current projected needs of residents with appropriate mix and range of housing options. And all this contributes to a complete community that offers more attainable and affordable housing options. The lands are within the built up area, which the plan directs at least 40% of residential dwelling unit development annually. And the official plan does direct the zoning bylaw to be amended to allow for innovative housing, where it is recognized to be in accordance with good land use planning principles. And this proposed development is supported by the City of Barrie official plan. With our application, there was a number of key studies that we submitted. Just going to highlight them here. We had a planning justification report, an urban design brief, an archaeological study, functional servicing report, geotechnical, and hydrogeological. We did include a construction management and parking plan, as well as a complete arborist assessment. In summary, the zoning bylaw amendment application would permit the development of 2 low-density semi-detached dwelling units at 157 Ardagh Road. The zoning bylaw amendment application would rezone the lands from the R2 zone to the RM1 zone to permit the semi-detached form, and development through intensification is supported as a contribution to a more desirable compact form, which efficiently utilizes lands and resources, infrastructure, and services. And this does support public transit and active transportation usage. The residential designation currently in the lands does permit all forms of tenure housing, and it does support more attainable housing options. So collectively, the form of proposed development reflects the desired urban structure of both provincial and municipal legislation. That concludes my concise presentation, and I'd be more than happy to answer any questions directed my way. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Mr. Hunter. I'll go to Ms. Banfield for an update on the status of this application.
Thank you again for the introduction, Mayor Lehman. And as always, I'll just provide an update of what staff are looking at. The public planning meeting does come early in the process. And so we are, as always, sending out the application for technical comments, not only from city staff, but also our partner agencies. So as Mr. Hunter said, there are no special provisions or any sort of text amendments. It really is just looking to make the change. And I'm going to go out here and say, before I'm asked, because it's a zoning bylaw amendment, because the R2 zone does not permit single or semi-detached dwelling units. So this really is the only appropriate planning application process to make that switch in the built form. So while it may not be a major zoning bylaw amendment, it is not a minor variance. And so I just am going to go out and say that, because I know it does not seem like it's significant necessarily, but there still is the need to review it. And this is the process to do that. So again, the plan is to do a severance or part lot control to be able to do those semi-detached units. There was a neighborhood meeting. 5 members of the public attended, along with the ward councillor, planning staff, the applicant's planners. We did hear some questions about tree preservation, you know, what the built form is going to look like, the lot fabric, those sorts of things. And most of those items are included in the planning justification report that accompanied this application. So staff are still taking a look at compliance with the provincial policy, compatibility and integration in the surrounding land uses, the review of the development limits, in particular as it relates to the trees on the site and any sort of tree removal permit that may be required. Any impacts on traffic, in particular along Ardagh Road. And then, as I said, as always, just can the site be serviced by existing or planned infrastructure? So all of the comments that we hear tonight and all of the comments in the technical review process are going to be addressed in the staff report that is intended to be brought back to council, hopefully in the second quarter of 2022, depending on what those comments and those technical comments are, and if they're difficult to address or resolve. And that is about it. All of the submission materials and key dates are also on the website under Ward 6, and Shelby White is the file manager. Thanks very much for your attention.
Thanks very much, Ms. Banfield. And again, if you have not registered to speak and you wish to tonight, please email cityclerks@barrie.ca or call 797-5353 to be able to speak here at the meeting. We do have one registered speaker for tonight's public meeting, and that is Lorraine Moore. If we could get Ms. Moore into the call to give her comments to Planning Committee, that would be great. And Ms. Moore, if you come off mute, or if we can unmute. Oh, where'd you go? There we go. Ms. Moore, we can see your name and screen, but not, but you're still on mute. You were off there for a second, but we still can't hear you. Well, I don't know if our staff can give Ms. Moore a bit of assistance there, if it's possible to reach her so she's able to speak to committee. Well, I'm guessing, Lorraine, you can hear us, but we can't hear you. I'm not sure if there's anything else you can do on your end to unmute and come into the call.
Mayor Lehman, we'll reach out to Ms. Moore, and if you want to give Councillor Harris the opportunity to speak,
Sure.
we don't have any further.
Registered speakers. Okay. Well, then I will go to you, Councillor Natalie Harris, to see if you have any questions or clarification while we work on trying to get Ms. Moore into the meeting.
No, I don't. Thank you, Mayor Lehman.
All right. Well, that successfully killed about 8 seconds, but as we continue to work to try and get Ms. Moore's technology working there, Madam Clerk, have you been able to reach?
We are just going to phone Ms. Moore and see. Oh, there, her microphone keeps.
It
switching
keeps
off and
blinking
on.
off mute, but it unfortunately doesn't seem to be staying that way so that we can hear her.
Staff are going to give her a phone call and
Okay.
try to assist her.
Okay, we'll just bear with us for a moment, members of Planning Committee. What we can do, no reason why we can't, is do inquiries of staff as well. Oh, there we go. We got Lorraine coming in on the phone. Lorraine, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Right.
I can't seem to unmute.
How strange. Well, we can hear you on the phone, so go ahead with your comments on the application.
Okay, thank you very much. So the reason I'm calling is because I am opposed to the proposed bylaw amendment to rezone the subject lands from residential single detached dwelling to a residential multiple dwelling. I just feel that 40-foot lands or 12.2 meter frontages are just not a wise decision on an arterial road such as Ardagh Road. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for being here tonight and for giving us your comments. We just need your address for the record.
Oh,
Ms.
yes.
Moore.
I just live around the corner on Ardagh Road. No, I'm hearing myself echo, so it's hard for me to talk. I live on Snowshoe Trail, just around the corner from 157 Ardagh Road. And just for the records, I was born on 157 Ardagh Road.
Oh my goodness.
So, and I'm an old senior citizen.
Well, nobody would know more of the history, I'm guessing, than you of the area.
Yeah.
So thank you for that, and I know you speak from that background. So thanks for coming tonight and bearing with the technology challenge. We've all had to get used to that sort of thing in the last couple of years, I guess.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, Madam Clerk, did we have anybody else that registered to speak? I'm guessing not in the last minute or two.
No, Mayor Lehman, we have not.
Okay. Well, thanks, Ms. Moore and Mr. Hunter for being here to give the presentation. Obviously, this one will come forward to Planning Committee for a decision at a later date. And with that, I can declare this public meeting concluded as well. Which brings us, members of Planning Committee, to inquiries of staff. Do you have any inquiries of planning staff? Okay, seeing none, this is a quick Planning Committee meeting. Thank you all for being here tonight. With that, I'll declare Planning Committee adjourned. We next meet for General Committee on March 21st, as next week is March break week. So enjoy the time off. We'll see you, everybody, on the 21st. Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.